Good morning, my name is Linda Douglas, and I would love to welcome you to my garden. That sweet little hanging birdhouse was a piece that I found when I traveled to Newfoundland. I found this planter at the old Crow Emporium in Kimberley. As you can see, it's made from an old antique metal bed, and it seems to be perfect for these begonias. My cat Maggie loves the catmint, and I often come out and find her laying flat out in the plant in heaven. Those colorful tins used to be used, I believe, for collecting maple syrup, and I found them many years ago when I was visiting the Sunshine Coast. And the door on the shed used to be on my house before we did a major renovation. I am not an artist, but I find gardening allows me an opportunity to be creative. And gardening and gardens are constantly changing and evolving. Every season brings something new. And obviously it can be a lot of work, but it's a labor of love, something that I can share with many people, and makes me very happy. And I thank you for coming and joining me in my garden.
Welcome to my garden. My name is Caprice Hogg, and I have been living in Kimberley for 23 years. This painting is called Transformation, and I painted it not long after the forest fire season a few years ago, and it's called Transformation because of where I was in my personal life, but also where we were in a global place, and we're kind of there now again in a different world, a whole different world with the pandemic behind us, hopefully, and new beginnings for everyone. This painting is from Kananaskis country of Mount Kidd, and it is a commission painting that I've just recently completed for my clients in Calgary who are very attached to this mountain, and they travel there every summer with their family. And so it is important for me to be able to capture memories like that on canvas. That one looks so small when we hung it on the fence. And it's actually really big when you have it hanging in my studio. This painting was inspired by the arbutus trees near Victoria, and the bark peels away and reveals incredible colors underneath. I am blessed to live in a beautiful, beautiful place that inspires my artwork. And I'm also very grateful to be able to include my students in this space as well. We paint on a regular basis here in the garden, and it inspires more than just myself. And I'm really happy to share it with all of you, and thank you for including me in the garden tour, and I hope you will enjoy.
Lynn's garden is a gateway to the gorgeous nature on her back doorstep. The garden wasn't much more than a rock pile when her brother first started building this home. Those rocks are now part of the rock wall outlining the entire garden, which has since been transformed into a beautiful green space with perennials that keep the maintenance to a minimum. That means more time spent enjoying this incredible mountain vista.
Hello, I'm Marianne and welcome to my garden. So we moved here in 1994 to fairly blank slate. There was some garden, but it was fairly rudimentary. And shortly after that, I took a landscape design course, and my husband is still regretting it. So if you follow me, we can look at the garden. So in this area, my goal was to just have different textures. So the hostas are one of my favorites, and I've grown to love-hate the astilboid that is trying to take over my garden. The rest of it is mostly textures until we get into the next part of it. The allium in the foreground is white, and it was quite lovely this spring, so I couldn't cut it down. It has such neat structure. The rest of it is just odds and sods. I tend to just say, I like that flower, I think I'll just put it here. The lilies just came out today, just for this occasion. The rest of it is sort of in various stages of coming or going. The Jackmani clematis is usually quite spectacular about August. It has been here ever since I have been here, so it's done very well. So when we came, there were a few trees here, but we've tried to increase them. Mainly to attract the birds. We have a lot of birds that visit. We have, I would say at least a dozen different types of birds that come and go. The tree at the front is a thunderchild crabapple. It's sterile. Well, it produces very small ones, but they're not edible. Very, very deep colored blossoms in the spring. We have a snowball tree or a viburnum. And on the other side, we have a plum that is also sterile. And most of our trees are sterile because we also live next to the nature park, and we don't want to attract our fuzzy brown friends into the yard. This area is a combination of herbs and flowers. Mostly it's for my friends, the hummingbirds and the bees, because the hummingbirds love the Maltese cross. They love the monk's hood, and I have Centaura in the background there that hasn't come through yet, but it's bright yellow and they really like that. So when we're sitting and having our coffee in the morning over there, we can watch the birds and the bees and all the things coming and going through this area. So our pond is a great attraction for the birds. We have full-on baths in there with water flying in all directions, and quite a meeting place for those. The tall plant is called, a king tut papyrus. It lives in the house in the winter, but we put it out every spring. The other is pretty much standard stuff. The pond was done about 20 years ago, I guess, and it's been redone once since. It changed to a little bit of a waterfall because the birds love to get in under the waterfall and have their morning bath or evening bath, and are quite indignant when we sit out on the deck and disturb that. In this warmer months, we eat often 3 meals a day on our deck, and the view is of the mountains, which today are not visible. So I thought I'd put a mountain here just to show what we normally see. You're not going to see this one, but it's usually a much better view than today.
Can you tell us a little about your painting?
Oh, well, this is a giclée. The other one, the original, is at the chateau right now. It's a painting of Mount Assiniboine, which my husband has climbed a couple of times. And the lake is Magog Lake in front of Mount Assiniboine. It's all watercolor, which is all I work in. And I just needed to do something that was mountainous, but mostly for my husband. Thank you for stopping in. I'm happy to show you around, and if you want to return, just let me know, because we wouldn't want you coming unannounced. We have deer sensors here and they're quite wet.
I'm Noreen Shaw. Welcome to my garden.
The front garden is reasonably new, in as much as we just built the carport in the fall. So most of this was dug up. I dug up all but a tiny portion of my lawn and put in more shrubs. So the shrubs are reasonably new, other than 2 large ones. I wanted to get rid of as much grass as I could. Just a little bit of history on my old home. It was built by Kimberley's first doctor in 1923, so it is an oldie, coming up 100 years old here shortly. Apple tree as well, I understand, was planted about the same time, so it's very old. The shrubs and the perennials that you see are pretty much deer-proof, and as I say, the deer come in and have a little nibble and leave. I don't plant a lot of annuals because I find they just they get eaten right away, so you see very, very few annuals in my garden. Most of the shrubs and perennials that you see have been donations by garden club members, just sharing, so I really have not purchased many plants. Just a quick story about the little garden shed. Of course, it wasn't here because there was a carport that ran the entire length of the side garden, but my husband and son built it out of wood that was taken off the carport. The shingles on it came from the roof. The old windows were salvaged from the house as well, and if you can imagine, all the chairs and whatnot, tables, are stored in there for the winter. It looks small, but it does its duty. Yeah, maybe I'll leave that. Stand by the garden shed. Well, thank you for stopping by my wee little garden. Hope you enjoyed it.
I'm Shannon Fraser. Welcome to my garden. This is a 20-year-old garden that has been growing in the forest mountains on St. Mary's Lake. Come with me, we'll take a tour. My beautiful husband, Ken Fraser, built me this working studio in our yard. And it's in here that I do all my batik and my tie-dye.
Oh, neat. I wonder what's down here.
Yeah, so this is the pond. Originally, it was my asparagus bed, but because of all the tall trees, we don't get enough sun to grow many things other than ferns and hostas. And so with this being a total fail, my mother suggested we take the soil out, dig it down, and make a pond. This is my island. The only island I'll ever own. I don't know what it is about this quirky little fish, but it just cracks me up. Turning a corner. And then we arrive at the beach. Thank you for coming on my garden tour with me, viewing my untamed garden in the mountains and the forest on the lake. Beautiful St. Mary Lake. Bye.